Hello my friends, Operator Starsky reporting from Kiev this time. Today is day 552 of the Russian invasion and we have quite a few updates, not only from Ukraine but the terrorist federation as well. First of all, let's check out traditional summary of the Russian losses. More than 500 terrorists lost their lives in the past 24 hours fighting for nothing in Ukraine. 14 tanks and 17 armored vehicles, as well as 25 artillery systems and 3 MLRS were destroyed according to the General Staff of Ukraine. It is reported that 32 combat clashes happened along the front line. The Russians are trying to improve their tactical positions in Klishchiivka, bringing fresh reserves, but they won't last for long here, since only in the last week the Ukrainian defenders managed to clear 1 square kilometer of the territory near Bakhmut. Despite not being able to use attack aviation, despite Russian defenses and minefields, the Ukrainian army is moving forwards steadily. Also, on the south, the Russian command and personnel in the occupied city of Tokmak is now within the range of the Ukrainian artillery, since the armed forces of Ukraine keep moving south of Robotyne village, liberated only last week. A swarm of 16 strike drones hit the Russian airbase in Kursk. The failed Russian air defense only managed to intercept 3 drones, while 13 reached their targets. As a result of the strike, 5 Russian fighter jets were destroyed completely, as well as anti-air system Pantsir and S-300 launcher. It's been one of the biggest strikes on the Russian bases in the past months. Another one happened in Perevalne, Russian-occupied Crimea. The strike drones, like the one that you see on the photo, hit the Russian objects of the coastal defense belonging to the Russian Black Sea Fleet. The Russians are facing this cringy situation when they've had every chance to destroy Ukraine, occupying almost a third of its territory last year, and in 552 days they've lost half of their tanks. Their firepower is decreasing every single day, and they have to fight a losing defensive war, being unable to capture even a single major Ukrainian city since the beginning of the full-scale invasion. The Russian war industry is also unable to supply the failing Russian army with the vehicles and weaponry, which is why the terrorist federation has to buy weapons in North Korea and Iran. For the Russians, the things are only getting worse every single day. By the way, it was confirmed that besides strike drones, Iran supplied Russia with aviation bombs Gayam-5, anti-tank complexes Dehlavier, as well as artillery shells and 120mm rockets for the Russian Grad systems. Also, the Ukrainian defenders shared footage of striking the Russian latest radar surveillance station Predel E, showcased only this year in June at the military exhibition. It was secretly brought to the Russian-occupied part of Kherson Oblast and toasted by the armed forces of Ukraine. The Ukrainian defenders also showed another video showcasing the Russian advanced radio-electronic warfare machine Svet-Ku, which is considered a quite rare piece of equipment in the Russian army. It was also destroyed by the armed forces of Ukraine. And now my favorite part of the update, called the Russian cringe. The Russian media report that combat horses were delivered to the Russian-occupied Donbass from Bashkiria Terrorist Federation to perform their combat duties. That's speaking of the Russian war industry. Child labor in Russia was legalized, according to the official website of Kremlin. It is reported that Putin, also known as Huilo, called to use the child labor to deal with the dying Russian economy, considering the high unemployment rate in the terrorist federation. Previously, in July this year, the journalists of the Nastoящее Время conducted an investigation and found that the Russian kids in Tatarstan were forced to assemble the Iranian Shahed drones for the Russian army. And this month it was reported that the Russian children in Krasnoyarsk were forced to produce combat uniform for the Russian invaders. As seen on this video, the Russian kids were forced to make 2 tons of the uniform during summer. The funeral of Prigozhin, so-called hero of Russia who took Bakhmut, raised mutiny and later was assassinated by Putin, will be held privately to avoid unnecessary attention. Additionally, it was reported that numerous cemeteries where thousands of Wagnerites were buried were removed across the Russian Federation. Also, according to the Russian media, only the candidates who reached 50 years will be accepted to participate in the Russian elections of Putin, also known as presidential elections in Russia. And the reason is that Putin is afraid to look old comparing to younger candidates. Is this true? We'll see when we have a list of candidates. Meanwhile, I wish you a great day. My name is Operator Starsky, reporting from Kyiv, Ukraine. As always, be safe.